أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu and welcome to our class today. I hope and pray that you are all doing very well, your families are well and keeping safe. I'd like to remind you all of class rules. As always, please make sure that you are logged in with the correct ID. Only students with the correct ID will be allowed on the mic and will be called to the mic to participate in class today. So it's really important that you are logged in with the correct ID. Also, make sure your heads are covered. We will be reading from the Holy Quran, so it's really important that heads are covered at all times. Please also make sure that you're sitting in a nice and quiet place so that when you're called to the mic, we can all hear you clearly. So the agenda for today's class is on your screens in front of you. We will start in just a bit with our opening dua. We will then move on to our practice text because there is no specific rule in focus for today's class. And that is because we will be focusing on and concentrating on applying all the rules that we have learned so far in our practice text in today's class. For our practice text, we'll be continuing with chapter number 83 of the Holy Quran and carrying on from where you left yesterday, which was you stopped at and finished verse number 18. So we'll be continuing from verse number 19. We will then take a short break to practice some hard words, just like you did in yesterday's class, before returning back to our practice text and finishing the class on time, inshallah, by assigning homework and with the finishing dua. So let's start with our opening dua now. And if you could have our student on the mic, please.
Assalamualaikum. Can we have G2235, please?
Jazakumullah. G2235. Assalamu alaikum. G22.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Okay, so we're going to start with this dua that's highlighted in front of you. So we're starting with Tawud and Tasmiyah. Please follow after me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
اللهم إني أسألك.
اللهم إني أسألك.
Okay, this is ka. أسألك.
أسألك.
Excellent. It's a thin sounding letter. And carry on. علما نافعا.
علما نافعا.
Excellent. Well done. Really, really good. And could you read the translation for me?
Of course. Oh Allah, I ask you for beneficial knowledge.
Well done. And it's Ibn Majah.
Page 925.
Well done. Ibn Majah, hadith number 925. Excellent. Well done. Jazakumullah for your participation.
Thank you.
Okay, so like I said in the beginning of the class, there's no specific rule in focus for today's class. And that's because what we're trying to focus on today is all the previous rules that you've learned so far, okay? And that includes what you did in yesterday's class and on Monday's class, okay? So yes, on Monday's class and yesterday's class, you looked at and revised some rules of pausing and stopping. Okay, so you learned that whenever you need to take a pause or take a stop at the end of the verse, then there are certain rules that you have to apply to. Okay, and on Monday's class, you revised that whenever you have any short strokes, then they turn into a sukoon. Okay, and also tanween strokes, they also turn into a sukoon at the end of the verse if you're taking a pause or stopping. And then in yesterday's class, you looked at how to stop when you have a letter of mud appear before the last letter of the verse. Okay, so we're going to, inshallah, practice this and revise it as we go through the verses, inshallah, today. So like I said, we're going to start from verse number 19 of chapter number 83 in the Holy Quran. So if you could have our first student on the mic.
G2237.
Jazakumullah. G2237. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Alhamdulillah, that's really good to hear. So we're going to start from verse number 19, and I'd like you to please read Dawud and Tasmiyah for me first, nice and slowly with a nice melody, please.
1 minute. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Excellent, well done, really nicely read. So we're going to focus on this.
Can I read by myself?
Okay, so the aim for these classes at the moment is that the teacher leads and the students follow, okay? Because I know you're on the mic at the moment, but there are lots of other students that are currently on mute, so they're all listening. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read it and then you can follow. And then after class, what your homework is that you have to practice everything that we've learned today, okay? So then that's when you can really sit with your mom or dad and then just sit with them and you read it first, okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, great. So we're going to start from this verse over here. And there's some things I'd like you to concentrate on and take care of when you're reading. So can you tell me what this stroke over here at the top is and how many seconds do I need to spend on that?
A fatah.
Okay, yes, you're right. There is a fatah. I'm talking about this line over here. I should have been more specific. This is a wavy line over here. Can you remember what this is called?
A mud.
A mud. Okay, excellent. There are two types of mud. Okay, and this is mad saghir. Okay, so and can you tell me how many seconds I need to spend on this?
4.
Okay, yes, you can spend 4 seconds. So between 3 to 5 seconds is the time that you should spend on a mad saghir. Well done for remembering. Excellent. Okay, over here we have a noon mushaddad, a noon with a shadda. Can you tell me what's special about this, about the pronunciation?
It has a nasal sound.
Excellent, well done. And how many seconds do I spend on that nasal sound?
2 seconds.
Yes, excellent, well done. Be confident. Yes, you're excellent. 2 seconds we're spending on that. Well done. Let's carry on. Over here we have a vertical fatha. So how many seconds do I spend on this?
2.
2 seconds. Yes, well done. Over here, I'm highlighting this ba sakin. Can you tell me why this is important?
Harufe qalqala.
Excellent, well done. It's a letter of qalqala, haruf qalqala. So we're going to, what kind of sound are we going to make here?
We're going to say ab.
Well done. So it's a kind of a bouncing sound. Yes, alif joins to ba with a slight bouncing on the sound of the ba. Well done, excellent. Now, at the end of this verse, we have to apply the rules of waqf. Okay, so this is the end of the verse. Whenever you go to the end of the verse, we have to look at the last letter. The last letter is a noon, and we have to look at what stroke it has. So it has a fatha at the moment. So if I want to pause after this and stop, what happens to this fatha?
It's gonna waqf and turn into a jazm.
Okay, jazm or a sukoon. Yes, that's how we're going to refer to it in these classes. It's a sukoon. Well done. Excellent. So that means that our sound is going to end on the noon because it will have a sukoon on it. And one more thing, before the noon sakin, which will turn into a noon sakin when we pause, there is a ya mad. Okay, now this is taking you back to yesterday's class. Okay, so you learned that whenever you have a letter of mud which comes before the letter where you want to take a pause, you need to prolong the letter of mud for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds when you're stopping. Okay, so this is a ya mud first of all because the letter before it, this ya over here, it has a kasra. Okay, so this makes this a ya mud. So whenever when we stop here, because there is a letter of mud, we have to elongate that letter of mud for 2 seconds, 4 or 6 seconds. Okay, so it's up to you however much you can get your breath to make, however long you can stretch that sound for, okay? And this word over here at the end, it's slightly more difficult. So what we're going to do is just going to practice this before we say the whole verse. Okay, good sound. Okay, let's take it bit by bit. Over here, first we're joining the ayn to the lam with the kasra. So illi. And then we have a ya mushaddad with another kasra underneath it. So we're going to join that onto that sound. Illi. Okay, and then after that we have a ya mud, which we've just spoken about, and we've said that we can stretch for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds because we're stopping after it. Okay, so we're going to say iliji, and then we're going to end on the sound of the n, noon. Okay, iliji. Excellent. Well done. So slightly more difficult word, but you read that really well. Okay, so let's go through this whole verse now, okay?
كلا إن
Sorry, I'm just...
كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين.
Okay, good. Well done. Excellent. So you tried to say that whole verse and you read that really well. But like I said, you're going to wait for me to say it first, okay? So that everybody can listen to how it's supposed to be read. And then I'm going to ask you to give it a go, okay? So let's start again from this verse. I'll do it first and I'd like you to follow later. كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين.
كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين.
Excellent. Well done, mashallah. Really good flow. And you applied all the rules really well. Well done. Let's carry on to the next verse. Over here again, we have a maddu saghir. So how many seconds did we say we're spending on this?
4.
Okay, 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, that's the correct answer. But you're right, you can spend 4 seconds on it because it comes between 3 to 5 seconds. Well done. Over here, I'm highlighting this. Can you tell me why?
It has a kalkala sound like a ba, like the ba.
Excellent. Well done. So just like we did in the first verse with the ba sakin, on this dal sakin, we're going to produce a kalkala sound, a bouncing sound over here. Okay. And then again, over here at the end of the verse, we have a noon fatha, a noon with a fatha, which changes into a noon sakin when we're pausing. And before this, you can see that we have a vaw mud. Okay. Vaw mud because it's a vaw sakin and letter before has a dhamma. So this is a vaw mud. And you learned yesterday that whenever you have a letter of mud appearing before you want to pause, okay, we can stretch that sound out for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds. So this is something we have to be careful of over here as well. Okay, so let's start from here. I'll read. I'd like you to follow. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا عِلِّيُّونَ
وما أدراك ما عليون.
Excellent. Well done, mashallah. You're reading really well. Next verse over here, I'd like to point out this. Can you tell me why I've highlighted this?
Because it has a tasdeed.
It does have a shadda on it. Well done. So can you tell me what sound I'm going to make here and for how long?
For 2 seconds.
Yes. And what kind of sound? It's a meme mushaddad. So what kind of sound am I going to make here?
Hold it.
Hold it. Yes, it's a ghunna sound. Okay. Whenever you have a meme mushaddad or a noon mushaddad, in this case it's meme mushaddad, we have to make a ghunna sound, a meme ghunna, which we hold in our nose for 2 seconds. Okay. So in this case over here, we're going to say bumma like that. Okay. And then carry on. And then of course, when we end the verse over here, we have to look at the last letter and we have to look at what stroke it has. So you can see that it has a stroke of tanween. Can you tell me what happens to this stroke of tanween when we're stopping? What does it change to?
السكون.
A sukoon.
Sukoon.
Excellent. Well done. And just like before, we have a vowel mud before the last letter we want to pause at. So again, this is a vowel mud. So when we end the verse, we can stretch that vowel mud sound for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds. Okay, so it's up to us how much we can spare our breath at the end to make that sound. Okay, so we're going to read this as Kitabum marqum.
كتاب مرقوم.
Excellent. Well done. Let's do one more verse. Over here in this verse, again, when we're ending, this fatha becomes a sukoon. Okay. And before this last letter, we also have a vowel mud. Okay. And this vowel mud, like I said before, we can stretch that sound out for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds. So we're going to say, يشهده المقربون.
يشهده المقربون.
Excellent. Well done. Really, really nicely read, mashallah. Jazakumullah G2237 for your participation. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Can we have another student on the mic, please?
G2239.
Jazakumullah G2239. Assalamu alaikum. G2239, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself.
Okay, I'll choose another student. G2237.
We've just had G2237.
G2235.
G2235. Assalamu alaikum.
G2235 as well. Could we have G2234, please?
G2234. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, can I please request all students to make sure that they're all sitting? Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Alhamdulillah. Is that G2234?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just before we move on, I'd just like to make a quick announcement to make sure that everybody, all students, are seated on their devices at all times and ready to unmute themselves when you hear your ID being called, okay? So that we can move on quickly and we don't waste any time during class. Jazakumullah. Okay, so G2234, we're going to start from verse number 23, which is this over here. And in this verse over here, I'm going to highlight this, Noon Mushaddad. Can you tell me what rule is going to be applied over here?
Gunna?
Gunna, excellent. So what's the rule?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Gunna, well done. Really, really good. The rule is that whenever you have Noon Mushaddad, you have to spend 2 seconds of the Gunna sound on there. Okay, that's the rule. But well done, you remember the rule and the name of the rule, which was excellent. Can you tell me what rule is going to be applied over here?
Qalqala.
Qalqala, excellent, well done. And then over here at the end of the verse, we have a meme with a kasratain underneath it. Can you tell me what does this kasratain turn into when we want to take a stop after this?
Sakin.
A sukoon. Excellent. It will turn into a meme sakin, but this kasratain, it will turn into a sukoon. Well done. Excellent. Now, another thing to note over here, as I've been saying previously as well, that in nearly every, I think every verse that we're going to cover today, it will end with a sound where we have to stretch the letter of mud for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds, okay? Because there is a letter of mud present at the end of every verse that we're reciting today. So this ya mud over here, because it's a ya with the sukoon and the letter before has a kasra. So this ya mud over here, we've been taught yesterday that we can stretch that sound out for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds, okay? So that's the rule that we're going to take care of in this verse as well. So I'm going to read this verse and I'd like you to repeat after me. Innal abrara lafi na'im. So could you read Dawud and Tasmiyah for me first and then start?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الأبرار لفي نعيم.
Excellent. Well done. Really, really nicely read. Well done. Excellent. Let's carry on to the next verse. Now, in this verse over here, first of all, we can see over here we have a lam sakin. Yes? Can you tell me what does this lam sakin join on to before it? Yes, this lam with a fatha. Excellent. So this ya and this alif in the middle, they're going to be ignored in our recitation, and we're going to say lam joins onto this lam over here. Well done. Over here, can you tell me what this stroke is called?
I don't know what it is.
Okay, no problem. Do you know how long do I have to spend on this though?
6 seconds.
Okay, yes, I can spend 4 to 6 seconds on this. Okay, this is called Madul Kabir. Okay, the one we looked at previously was Madul Saghir. This is Madul Kabir, and you have to spend 4 to 6 seconds on this. Okay, so you can spend as little as 4 seconds or as long as 6 seconds on this stroke over here. Well done for remembering. Now, over here, we have a noon sakin. Whenever we have a noon sakin, we have to look at the letter after it to see what kind of noon sound we have, what kind of nasal sound it is we have to make. So the letter afterwards, this, can you tell me, is this a letter of the throat?
No.
No, it's not. Well done. So because it's not a letter of the throat, we have to spend a 2-second nasal sound on this noon sakin over here. Okay, so that's something we have to take care of over here. And then over here at the end, we're going to end the sound of this verse with a noon sakin and stretching this waw mud sound for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds. Okay, so let's start. على الأرائك ينظرون.
على الأرائك ينظرون.
Excellent. Well done, mashallah. Really good nasal sound over here and really good stretching over here. Really good. One thing I'd like you to concentrate on is your sound of the ayn. Okay, so it's a difficult sound to make, but inshallah with practice you will get it. So this is alal.
على.
Good. So it's different to alif, the sound of alif. Okay, this is a sound that comes from the middle of your throat. You really have to make an effort to say this. Okay, one more time. Alal.
على.
Good. Well done. Well done for trying. Keep practicing that sound though. Okay, let's carry on to the next verse. Now in this verse, I'd like you to take care of, your letters of mud. You can see that these are all letters of mud. So we're spending 2 seconds on that. Over here, we have a noon mushaddad. So can you tell me what rule is going to be applied over here?
Gunna sound.
Gunna sound. Well done. So gunna sound, 2 seconds. We have to hold the noon sound, okay? And then at the end of this word, this verse, this kasra becomes a sukoon, and we have to take care of this ya mad because it's coming at the end of the verse. We can stretch this for how many seconds? Can you tell me?
2, 4, or 6.
Excellent. Well done. Really happy that you said that. Let's carry on and read this verse now. تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم.
Can you break it down for me, please?
Of course, no problem. It's a long verse, so I can understand it might be a bit more difficult. So let's start from here. Let's say in smaller chunks. تعرف في.
تعرف في
Well done. وجوههم.
وجوههم.
Excellent. Well done. So let's start and try and say that all together. تعرف في وجوههم.
تعرف في وجوههم.
Excellent. Well done. So you're halfway there. Well done. Then we have نظرة النعيم.
نظرة النعيم.
Excellent. Well done. Really, really nicely read. Do you want to go and give the whole verse a go?
Yes.
Okay, off you go.
تعرف في وجوههم نظرة النعيم.
Excellent. Mashallah. Well done. Really, really nicely read. So it's okay because we're starting at the beginning. You're okay to split the verse into smaller bits so it's more manageable in the beginning. But like we just saw, that we do it in small bits and then we try all together and inshallah we all get it at the end. So that's really, really good to hear. So we're going to go on to the next verse now. And it's again a bit longer. So we will split that down for you a little bit as well. In this verse over here, this is a vowel sakin, and the letter before has a fatha. So this makes this a vowel lean. So the sound that we're going to make over here will be qaw, like that. Well done. Excellent. Now over here, we have a noon sakin, but the letter after is a ra mushaddad. Okay, can you tell me how would I make this sound over here?
Ignore the noon and join it to the ra.
Yes, well done. So over here in our recitation, this comes under the rule of idgham or assimilation as we have learnt. Whenever you see noon sakin and the letter after is a ra mushaddad or a lam mushaddad, then we ignore the sound of the noon and straight away join the meme to the letter after. So this is going to be mirror, like that. Okay, now in this case over here, can you tell me what rule is going to be applied over here?
Mirona.
Meme gunna. Excellent. Well done. So we're going to again spend 2 seconds on the meme gunna sound. And at the end, we're going to turn this kasratain into a sukoon. And we have to take care of this vaw mud. We can spend 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds on that. So over here, we're going to say yusqawna.
Yasqawna.
Okay, ya has a dhamma. So yusqawna.
Yusqawna.
Excellent. من رحيق مختوم.
من رحيق مختوم.
Excellent. Well done. So all together. يسقون من رحيق مختوم.
يسقون من رحيق مختوم.
Excellent. MashaAllah. Really, really nicely read. Really happy with the way you're reciting. Well done. Excellent. Jazakumullah for your participation. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. So let's move on to another student, please.
G2242.
G2242. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Jazakumullah for asking. So we're going to carry on with verse number 27. Okay, and there's a couple of rules that I'd like you to take care of. We have some long strokes. So we have a vertical fatha here, we have an inverted dhamma here. So we're spending 2 seconds on each of those, okay? Now there's a small sign over here, okay, small ta. And this in the middle of the verse indicates that you can take a pause over here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a stop. We're going to take a small pause over here before we carry on. So whenever we take a pause, the same rules of pause apply as we've been looking at before. So the last letter in this case is a kaf, and it has a dhammatain on top of it. Can you tell me what does this dhammatain turn into when we're stopping? So you looked at this on Monday's class. Whenever you have a tanween, what does that turn into when we're taking a pause after it? Can you remember?
No.
No. Okay, no problem. So let me remind you, whenever you want to take a pause, you look at the last letter, and if it has a tanween on it, so by tanween I mean fathatain, kasratain, or a dammatain, then that tanween stroke turns into a sukoon. Okay? Is that okay? Do you remember now? Okay.
Yep.
Well done. Okay, so this turns into a tanween. So what we're going to, sorry, not a tanween, a sukoon. Okay, so it's a tanween and it will turn into a sukoon when we're stopping. So over here, when we're stopping, we're going to join the meme to the scene and then the scene to the kaf because it will have a sukoon on it. So how we're going to say this first bit is as follows. Can you read Tawad and Tasmiyah for me first before we start?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Okay, good. So over here, this is ختامه مسك.
ختامه مسك.
Excellent. So one more time, misk.
مسك.
Excellent. Well done. Let's carry on. Now over here we have a yamad. So we have to spend 2 seconds on that. And then let's see. We have more letters where we have to spend 2 seconds. So over here, for example, we have a vertical fatha. We have to spend 2 seconds on that. Alif mud over here. So 2 seconds on that. Again, alif mud over here. So again, 2 seconds on that. And then when we end the verse, we have to look at the last letter and see what stroke it has. So this noon over here, it has a stroke of fatha. Can you tell me what does this stroke of fatha turn into when we're taking a pause after it? Can you remember? No? Okay, so were you here on Monday's class?
Yes.
Okay, so on Monday's class, you learned that whenever you have a short stroke, so fatha, kasra, or dhamma, and you want to stop after it, then that fatha, kasra, or dhamma will turn into a sukoon as well. Okay, so in this case, this noon with a fatha will turn into a noon sakin. That's the rule. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so this vowel mud as well, we have before this noons with the fatha, we also have a vowel mud. So when we're ending the sound over here, that vowel mud can be stretched for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds. And that's the rule that you learned yesterday. Okay, so let's keep that in mind as well. Let's start from this over here. We're going to say, وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون.
وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون.
Okay, good attempt. Okay, just remember your timing. Okay, timing is really, really important when we're reciting. So for example, this dhal over here, it has a vertical fatha. How many seconds should we spend on a vertical fatha? Can you tell me?
1 or 2 seconds.
Okay, so 2 seconds is the right answer. So 1 second should only be spent on letters with short strokes. So for example, this lam has a kasra, this kaf has a fatha. So both of these should only spend 1 second each on. Okay. So this vertical fatha will be spent, we have to spend 2 seconds on this. Okay. So dhalika.
Zalika.
Good, well done. Over here, like I said, this is an alif mud because it's a blank alif, letter before has a fatha. So we have to stretch that for 2 seconds. فَلْيَتَنَا.
فليتنا.
Excellent, well done. Again, over here we have an alif mud. And this ta over here simply has a fatha. So we're only spending 1 second on the ta and 2 seconds on the na, on the noon with the alif mad after it. So let's try this one more time, making sure we spend our correct timing on each of the letters. So could you start from here for me?
وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون.
Good, much better, okay? But remember, if you have to spend 2 seconds on this alif mad over here, okay? And on this alif mad over here. And on this ya mad over here. 2 seconds on each of those, okay? So one more time. وَفِي ذَلِكَ
وفي ذلك
فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ
فليتنافس
المتنافسون.
المتنافسون.
Excellent. Well done. So what I want you to do after class is go through these verses again, try and say them all at once, but make sure that you're paying close attention to timing, okay? So let's do one more verse. In this verse over here, we have an inverted dhamma over here. So we're spending 2 seconds on this, okay? Over here, we have a noon sakin. Whenever we see a noon sakin, we have to look at the next letters to see if it's the letter of the throat. This is the letter ta. Can you tell me, is the letter ta a letter of the throat?
No.
No, it's not. Well done. So because it's not a letter of the throat, we can spend 2 seconds on this noon sakin with a partial nasal sound, okay? So over here, we're going to say, and of course, when we're ending the verse over here, this kasratain, as we've said before, will become a sukoon, okay? And this ya mad, we can spend 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds on that. So we're going to say, وَمِزَاجُهُ مِن تَسْنِيمٍ.
ومزاجه من تسنيم.
Excellent. Well done. So your timing was really good in this verse. Well done. Excellent. Just keep practicing, especially pay close attention to your timing. Okay? Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. Wonderful. Well done. Jazakumullah for your participation. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. So before we move on to the rest of the verse, what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break to look at some hard words. Okay. Now these words are words that we'd like to bring to your attention because they might sometimes be difficult to pronounce, either because there's a letter in there that's a bit difficult to pronounce, or generally it's a bit of a tricky word to pronounce. Okay. So these are 3 words from the Holy Quran, which we'd like to practice with you. So if you could have a student on the mic to practice these words with me.
G2241.
Jazakumullah. G2241. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. So you've been chosen to read these 3 verses with these 3 words with us, which are slightly more difficult or can be seen as slightly harder words to pronounce. So we're going to go through this first word with you now. Over here, we're going to start off with the ya with the dhamma. So we're going to spend 1 second on this. So we're going to say you.
You.
Well done. Now after this, we have a ba with a fatha, followed by an alif mad. It's an alif mad because it's a blank alif and the letter before has a fatha on it. So can you tell me how many seconds do I spend on this alif mad?
1 second.
Okay, have a think again. So it's an alif mad. 2 seconds. Yes, well done. Any letter of mad, so alif mad, waw mad, or ya mad, each require a 2 second timing. So we have to spend 2 seconds on this. Yuba.
Yuba.
Excellent. Well done. Now over here, we have a letter ya with a kasra followed by an ayn sakin. Okay, ayn with a sukoon. Now this ayn is highlighted because as I've said earlier in the practice text as well, that ayn is one of the more difficult letters to pronounce, and it requires a lot of practice to get it right. So we're going to try and join these two letters together, trying to keep in mind the correct pronunciation of the letter ayn. Okay, so we're going to say yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent, good. And then at the end of this word over here, we have noon with a fatha, kaf with a fatha. Naka.
Naka.
Excellent. So all together, yubayi'naka.
Yubayi'naka.
Excellent. Well done. Really good. Let's carry on to the next word. Now, this word over here, first thing we have to do is we have to join the ta to the sin because it has a sukoon on it. Tas.
Tas.
Excellent. Next thing we have to do, we have a ta and a kaf which needs to be joined together. Tak.
Tak.
Excellent. Now, this letter over here, the letter is called tha. Okay, and it has a kasra underneath it. So the correct way to pronounce this letter, and that's why it's highlighted in red, because there's a special way to say this letter. You take the tip of your tongue and you touch it to your top teeth. Okay, so we're going to say fi.
Si.
Excellent, well done. Ru.
Ru.
Tastakfiru.
Tastakfiru.
Excellent, well done. So it's important to highlight that this scene over here and this letter tha, they have sometimes it's easy to make the same sound for both of these letters as a s, but that's wrong because we have to say this as seen and this as tha. That's the correct way of saying this, okay? So one more time. Tastakfiru.
Tastakfiru.
Excellent, well done, really nicely read. Let's move on to the last letter now. Over here, we have to join this kaf to this lam sakin. Kal.
Kal.
Excellent. Can you tell me what letter this is in red?
A ha.
Excellent, it's a ha. So we have to join it to the meme. Muh.
Muh.
Li.
Li.
Kal muhli.
Kal muhli.
Excellent, good. So one more time, all of these words. Yubayi'naka.
Yubayi'naka.
Excellent. Oops, let's do this again. Tastakfiru.
Tastakfiru.
Excellent. So there's two sounds that you're making overhead which are slightly similar. That's why it's a bit of a harder word. Tastakfiru.
Tastakfiru.
Excellent. And at the end, kal muhli.
Kal muhli.
Excellent. Well done, mashallah. Really nicely read. Really nicely pronounced. Jazakumullah for your participation. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. So we're going to carry on with our practice text and let's have another student on the mic, please.
G2 112.
G2 112. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. So make sure you're sitting in a nice and quiet place. Okay, so there's no noises behind you, so I can hear you clearly.
Okay, hold on a second.
Okay, are you back?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, that's better. Okay, so we're going to start from this verse over here. In this verse over here, I want you to take care of some things. Over here, we have a ya mushaddad. Okay, and the letter before is a noon with a tanween on top. Can you tell me how should I pronounce this?
Nayash.
Good. So how you pronounced that was you pronounced it with a nasal sound, which you held for 2 seconds. Nayash.
Nayash.
Excellent. Well done. So that's something we have to take care of. And then at the end of this verse over here, we can see that the last letter has a fatha. Now, when we're stopping after this, what does this fatha become?
A sukoon.
Excellent. Good. So it becomes a sukoon when we want to end the verse over here. Before this noon, we also have a vowel mud. Okay, it's a vowel mud because it's a vowel sakin. Letter before has a dhamma. So this is a vowel mud. Now, because this vowel mud is appearing at the end of the verse as we're ending it, we can spend how many seconds on this? Can you tell me?
4, 2, or 6 seconds.
Perfect. Well done. So 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds we can spend on this. So let's start from this starting of this verse. Could you read Dawud and Tasmiyah for me first, please?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Well done. عينا يشرب بها المقربون.
أي يشرب بها المقربون.
Excellent. Well done. Really good. Really nicely read. Over here, just try this ayn sound. I. Okay. So right now it's sounding like you're saying a alif. Okay. So alif and ayn sound needs to be different. So we're going to say I. Okay, good try. But I want you to practice the sound of the ayn. It's really important, and try and get that a bit better, okay? Otherwise, well done, mashallah, really nicely read. Over here, qaf is a thick and heavy sounding letter. So make sure you say that with a thick and heavy sound. Qarra. Good, well done. Those were the 2 things I want you to take care of. Let's carry on to the next verse. Can you tell me why I'm highlighting this noon?
Because it's kalkala.
Okay, not kalkala. The rule being applied over here is the rule of ghunna. Okay, it's a noon mushaddad, noon with a shadda. Whenever we see a noon mushaddad, we have to spend 2 seconds on the nasal sound or the ghunna sound. Okay, inna, like that. Okay, over here, can you tell me why I'm highlighting this jim sakin?
Because it's a kalkala.
Yes, that's right. Now, well done. This is the qalqala rule being applied. Jim sakin, so we're going to produce a bouncing sound off the jim. Well done. And let's have a look. Over here at the end of the verse, this fatha becomes a, can you tell me?
A sukoon.
Sukoon, well done. And this vowel mud over here, we can spend 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds as we're ending the sound of this verse. Okay, so it's a bit of a longer verse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recite all of it, and then if you can do it all by yourself, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll split it for you. Okay, so please listen carefully. إن الذين أجرموا كانوا من الذين آمنوا يضحكون.
إن الذين أجرموا كانوا من الذين آمنوا يضحكون.
Excellent. Good, mashallah. Really, really nicely read. And you didn't need my help there, which was really good. So all of this verse is a bit of a longer one, but you read really well. Okay. Over here, can you pronounce this letter for me?
Z.
Okay, good. So this is not Z, it's going to be Zina.
Zina.
Excellent. So you the tip of your tongue touches your top teeth when you say this letter. Okay, same thing over here. Zina.
Zina.
Okay, good. Well done. Really, really nicely read. Let's do one more verse. Over here, we have alif mad. So 2 seconds needs to be spent over here. And again, we have an alif. We have vaw mad over here, first of all. So 2 seconds needs to be spent on that. Alif mad over here. So 2 seconds need to be spent over here. At the end of the verse, we have a noon with a fatha. This fatha turns into a sukoon, like you've just told me before as well. This vaw mad needs to be spent a timing of 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds as we end the verse. So let's try this verse now. وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِهِمْ يَتَغَامَزُونَ.
وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِهِمْ يَتَغَامَزُونَ.
Excellent. Good. Well done, mashallah. Really, really happy with the way you're reading. You've got a really good flow when you're reading, which is really good. Okay, mashallah. Jazakumullah for your participation.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Can you go up this? Because I want to show you something.
Yeah.
So see on the part when it says the ya and the sheen.
Which verse is it? Can you point it out for me?
Over
here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know join the meme to the ya?
The meme to the ya. Okay. Okay, so over here, what we are doing is because we're splitting the verses, if you are doing it in continuation, then yes, the meme would join onto the ya. But because we're stopping over here, we're going to start with the sound of the ya with the fatha, yash, like that. Okay, so that's how we're just going to learn it for now. Okay?
Okay, now I understand.
All right, no problem. I can understand that this shadda might be a bit confusing, but when you start the verse from here, then this ya would start with a ya with a fatha, join it to the sheen, yash. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Jazakumullah, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Okay, I think we have time for just one more student.
G2 135.
G2 135. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. That's really good to hear. Okay, so I think this is where we left off. So apologies for that. Okay, so we're going to start from here. We have alif mad over here. So we're going to stretch for 2. Okay, that's wrong over here. After this dal, we have a fatha. On this top of this dal, we have a fatha. And then we have this noon sakin over here. Okay, so over here, we have to join this dal to this noon sakin, ignoring this alif and this alif over here. Okay, and because we have a noon sakin, what we have to do is we have to look at the next letter to see what kind of sound it is we have to make. This qaf over here, can you tell me, is this a letter of the throat?
No.
Excellent, well done. So qaf is not a letter of the throat. That means that this we have to produce a nasal sound over here, holding it for 2 seconds. Okay, so over here we're going to say zang before we carry on. Okay, over here we have this stroke over here. Can you tell me the name of this stroke? Can you remember it?
Mad kabir.
Okay, it's the other one, maddu saghir. Well done though for trying. This is maddu saghir. Okay, can you remember how long do I have to spend on this?
42 seconds.
Sorry, I didn't hear you there. How many seconds did you say?
42 seconds.
Okay, not 4 to 2 seconds. We're going to spend 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, so maddu saghir, we spend 3 to 5 seconds on maddu saghir. And we see another maddu saghir over here. So again, we spend 3 to 5 seconds on this maddu saghir as well. Okay, now in this verse, we also have another noon sakin over here. So just like we did before, we have to look at the next letter to see what sound it is we have to make. So qaf is not a letter of the throat, like you told me before. So again, we have to make a nasal sound over here for 2 seconds. Okay, and then we end the verse over here. Because this has a fatha, this fatha turns into a, can you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Tell me, what does this fatha turn into?
The fatha turn into a kasra.
Okay, not a kasra, into a sukoon. Okay, whenever we're stopping after a letter with a fatha, kasra, or dhamma, then that will turn into a sukoon. Okay, and before this we have a ya mad, and this ya mad can be stretched for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds, as we have been seeing throughout the class as well. Okay, so let's try this verse all together. It's a bit of a longer one, so I'll say it and then I'd like you to repeat after me.
Okay.
وَإِذَا انقلبوا إِلَى أَهْلِهِمُ انقلبوا فَكِهِينَ. So Dawood and Tasmiyah first, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم من قال
Good, well done. Really, really good attempt over here. Now over here, first thing over here, like I said, this alif and this alif are going to be ignored in our pronunciation, and we're going to straight away join this dal to this noon. Thou. Good. قلبوا. Excellent. So let's go through this whole verse bit by bit, okay? وَإِذَا انقلبوا.
وإذا قلبوا
Okay. قلبوا إلى أهلهم
إلى أهلهم
قلبوا فكهين. Excellent. Well done. So one more time, let's do this verse. وَإِذَا انقلبوا إلى
وإذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم انقلبوا فكهين.
Excellent. Good. Well done. Just pay close attention over here. This is going to be أهلهم. Excellent. Good. Well done. Really, really nicely read. We only managed to go through one verse, but it was a bit of a longer one. That's why we had to spend a bit more time on this. But well done. Really, really good participation. Make sure that after class you do your homework, which I'm just going to set for you now. Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't get to do the homework. It's because I can't really see the document.
You can't see the document?
Yeah.
Okay, so is someone on the parents' WhatsApp group?
Yeah, my mom.
Your mom's on the, okay, and does she get the documents? Does she get the messages?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you able to open that document?
Yeah, but I can't do it on my laptop.
You can't, so have you tried opening it on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're still unable to see it?
No.
Okay, so if there's any technical issue with any of the documents, please feel free to contact us using the email address or the discipline in charge as well, and we can try and sort that out for you. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, just ask your mum to contact us.
Okay.
All right, well done. Jazakumullah for your participation. Your homework is to practice chapter number 83. That's just the surah that we're covering today. And from verse number 19 to verse number 32. So that's what where we got up to, okay? Verse number 19 to verse number 32, and apply all the rules that you know, please, when you're reciting. And for extra practice, please practice the hard words that we've just covered today. So that's your homework, inshallah. You will be sent this on the WhatsApp group. These are the hard words that we covered today. So we're going to end the class with the dua, and I'd like you all to please follow along with me at home. We won't have a student on the mic now. So if you could all recite along with me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم ارحمني بالقرآن العظيم. Oh Allah, have mercy on me through the Quran, the Great. So Jazakumullah to everybody for joining us in today's class, and inshallah we'll speak to you all again same time tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.